Hello, everyone. My name is Julianne Meyer, and I am the host of Own Your Wellness. And I am excited for today's guest because we recently had a conversation that I just knew that I needed to bring him to you guys because his knowledge is going to elevate your life in so many ways. So, without further ado, let me introduce him. If I can use my words, I'm so excited I can hardly speak. Scott Aksamit. Here we are. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great, Julie. How are you?
So good. As I mentioned to the audience, since we were able to touch base the other day, I've had you on my mind and your book on my mind because I was thinking you need to be more known. And if I can help help you spread your message, this is going to be a great platform to do that. So I would love for you to share a bit about yourself and your own wellness journey.
Sure. My background started as a martial arts instructor. I opened my first school when I was 18 years old. I did that just because I love teaching martial arts. I had no idea how to run a business or what to do. My mom showed me how to balance a checkbook. That was the only training I got. And then I went out there from there and tried to figure it out. I'm actually in my academy right now, sitting from there. And I've just recently added a new addition to what I'm doing. I'm helping other small business owners build small businesses. And the people that I work with the best are people who have an individual talent, something they're really good at, and it's dependent on them with that talent to build their business. Because that's exactly where I was. I had my black belt, but I had to learn how to, structure marketing and sales and all these other aspects to build a healthy business that could actually run without me being there every day. So that's what I help people do. And more about my process, it's not so much like when I coach people, I don't give them a to-do list. I never do that. I never say this is what you have to do, because it's the same as what I was doing with my students. It wasn't about throwing kicks. If we had a student come in and they felt really shy and they were nervous about making mistakes, if I don't help them develop a stronger character trait within themselves of self-confidence, then they're never going to be able to do the kicking exercise, or they'll at least do it from a shy mindset, and they won't be as productive. So in the martial arts practice, it was all about how do we get them to level up, to feel that inner power before we ever ask them to do any work. And I do the same exact thing with business owners.
I love that so much. And I knew that that's why you and I would get along so well, because, since I work in nutrition and health and wellness in general, everybody knows basically vegetables you should eat more of, drink more water, sleep well, have an exercise program of your liking that's effective. But who actually does that? I mean, or comes from it from a place of like, most people, if they want to lose weight, they think they're broken. They've got to fix something, as opposed to, coming from a place of, I love myself enough that I want to be healthier.
Yes, I agree.
So I love that. I love that idea, though, because most people think of like martial arts in particular as being, very physical, but they don't think about this part of it at all.
It's very, very important to get the mental attitude right. My instructor gave me the world's greatest business lesson as a martial artist when I was 13 years old. And it was basically this: hey, Scott, do you want to be a black belt? Yes, sir. Do you want it bad? Yes, sir. How bad? With all my heart, sir. Then feel like you are right now. So it was really a powerful lesson, because after a defeat, after you lose a sparring match, after you've been taken down, after you've been hit, the last thing that you actually feel is that victory or that success. But if you don't feel that before you take your next execution, before you get out there and do more work, excuse me, you're not going to do it from the right mindset. So like you said, everybody knows what you're supposed to do to be healthy. So don't worry about what to do to be healthy. Yeah. Get yourself in the right frame of mind that you already have health and wellness within you, and elevate that mind to be there. If this is where your health and wellness wants to be, but you see yourself as being here, feel this way first. And may I give an example of how to do this?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you have a few extra pounds that you want to lose, and you focus on the few extra pounds that you want to lose, you're going to feel that defeated attitude. You're going to feel like, man, how did I get this far? Why did I let it go this far, etc. But if you put your hand over your heart and you go, man, it's beating perfectly. I got this thing working for me right now. My heart is working for me, and I have some appreciation for that. This is a sign of my health and my well-being. My lungs are working good. I can breathe. I've got the ability to take oxygen in. I have the ability to start. Wow, I can move my arms. I can move my legs. I can move. I'm feeling good about that movement. Now, when you start to do that, something will eventually kick in, inspiration. And when
Mhm.
you get that inspiration, that's going to help you take the action that you want. You're suddenly not going to want the ice cream and you are going to want the vegetables, etc. But you got to get to that point of inspiration first. And you got to do that in every aspect of your life. That's what I help people do on the marketing and selling side. Everybody knows you're supposed to promote your business if you want to be successful. Yeah, but if you don't feel like it every day, you're not going to do it. So,
Exactly. And that's the other thing too that I kind of want to mention about, the right mindset is if you think about it, when was the last time you really took good care of something you didn't like or
yeah.
something you didn't appreciate? So if you don't appreciate yourself or your business and think of it as kind of like I've got to get you to this level before I can love you, then
Mm.
you're not going to have that. Nobody takes care of things that they don't want to. I mean, I've got a litter box that's sitting there, like it doesn't clean itself. And but I never want to do it. The only reason why I do is because I can't stand the smell. So, it's just like otherwise I wouldn't bother.
You made a great point. Can I share one of the strategies to help if there are business owners out there?
Yes.
If you want to raise your energy to actually promote your business, there's some sales myths that are out there, and
Mm-hmm.
these sales myths are designed to make you tough so that you could overcome rejection, but they actually create a negative energy, and that's why so many people hate salespeople. Salespeople they've been taught, look, if they say no to you, they're dead to you. Okay, if you have that attitude, then as soon as you start talking to your prospect, they're going to feel that. If I don't give this guy money, he's going to hate me.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to come across. So here's my recommendation: love your ideal client, even if they're not clients. Love them. Have
Okay.
empathy for the problem that they're actually feeling. If you counsel parents with teens, then
Mm-hmm.
you got to love that parent. You got to love that teen. You got to love the fact that they want to connect. They want to be in a healthier relationship, but right now they're at each other's throats and they need your guidance. And if you love them for the problem that they're in, and if you love them for the people they want to be, even if they don't buy from you, then when you go to do the sales process, you're going to come across 100% genuine, 100% natural, and actually feel it if they say no. If they go,
Mm-hmm.
look, I can't afford your service right now, and you're like, I still love you. Well, that's the kind of power that makes you want to go promote your business.
Mm. No, I love that idea too, because, and besides the fact that just because somebody says no doesn't mean no forever, it could be no for right now.
Mhm.
So why would you even, I don't know. I love the idea of, not taking it personally, first of all, and just loving who they are. Because if you really, most people who are trying to sell something, genuinely believe in what they're trying to sell and they're trying to provide some sort of service and believe in that service. So if you believe in that and focus on that, is
Mhm.
that what would come through? Is that what you're saying, like the positive energy of that?
You could focus anything positive about your business. It could be like, I love my process. For martial arts, I love MMA. It could be that.
Mhm.
It could be I love my customer. It could be any aspect that you're appreciating about your business before you get out there. But if you just finish looking at the checkbook and you know that you got to close X number of dollars in order to balance this thing, that
Yeah.
kind of pressure is going to ruin your whole sales presentation. You got to be able to separate that, do your accounting at one time.
Hmm.
You got to watch your numbers in your business, no doubt, but do your accounting at one time, but then separate that need for money when you actually start to interact with other people. If you want to sell from a position of integrity and from a position of I'm just enjoying doing this regardless of the results, and your
Hmm.
results always get better too. And one more example, like what you said, they might not be ready right now, they might be ready some other time. Well, you actually might be more benefited if they say no to you than if they say yes. And this is an important thing to realize. I have certain clients that are with me that I don't buy from. Okay. But
Hmm.
I know their business and I know their heart and I know what they're about. So I feel really good about referring my friends to them and
Hmm.
giving them business and giving them business opportunities because I know they're a genuine business owner. So I'm just not the ideal person for what they're selling. I'm not buying any
Hmm.
makeup anytime soon. So I'm not the ideal client for some people.
Yeah.
And but if I really believe in that business owner, now I'm a better resource, even though I'm a no.
That's a really good point too. I love that idea. And, you know, especially with bringing this back to like small businesses, and for me, I really started on my own because COVID hit. And I know that there are so many people out there that are, I don't know, they're kind of afraid to start their own thing, even though it's always what they've dreamt of and that, but what would you recommend to somebody to maybe move past that first initial fear just to get going?
Sure. Well, let's start with this. If they have a desire, even a small desire to run a business, it's because their subconscious mind, their soul, is telling them to do this.
Mm,
They've had some life experience, some amount of pain. Maybe they had a job where the boss was a real tyrant and they don't want to work for somebody like that. Maybe they want to have control over their own schedule, that they don't have to show up at 9 o'clock and stay until 6 o'clock before they come back home.
mm,
There's some sort of pain that happened in their life and you can't unlive that pain. So
yeah.
that desire that you're going to want this business is always going to be there. It's never going to fade. It's never going to die. It'll be there your entire life, haunting you to do this if you don't take some sort of action. So that's where people go wrong, is they're like, I wish I didn't have this desire. Well, you can't get rid of it because the life that you've already had led you to make you want this thing. And
Mhm,
until you start to level up to it, then you're not going to get out of there. So here's the advice. You have this desire. You want to level up to it.
mhm.
Don't think that the desire to start a business is necessarily okay. I'm going to the bank. I'm taking $250,000 out. I'm going into massive debt. I'm rolling the dice and let's see if I win or lose. That creates a lot of fear. You
Mhm.
could actually start working on your business by going to the library and getting a book out on marketing. And that's the start, just cultivating the ideas. You could start your business by reaching out to 5 of your friends and saying, look, I'm holding this party. At the party, we're going to be doing whatever your business is. I'd like to invite you and come on down, and just invite people to do it. My first martial arts student happened when I was in high school. It was a friend of mine, and he was nervous that this other kid wanted to beat him up. And I'm like, well, look, pay me $10. I'll show you how to do a few techniques. And
Yeah.
we went into the basement and I showed him a few techniques. He had a new level of confidence and the bully stopped bothering him. So everything worked out great. But you got to start from where you are. You don't have to
Mhm.
have something outside of you. Because again, that desire is never going away.
No, I think it's important too because a lot of people, and I've been so guilty of this. It's like black or white thinking, all or nothing.
Mhm.
It's like go big or go home, but maybe you need to actually make those baby steps and just wet your feet a little bit to get going instead of, like you say, going and get a $250,000 loan and mortgaging your house and wondering if you're going to be able to pay your kids tuition. I mean, that could be a little intimidating, obviously. But
Exactly.
that works for some people too. So I don't want to say, one way is better, but hey, if you're stopped, then why not start smaller?
Well, if you've got a great marketing process down that you feel comfortable with and that you have control over, if you
Mhm.
have a sales procedure that's been proven, you actually put people into the sales procedure, you've closed sales, and okay, if I had 20 people coming into my marketing funnel, I could close 2 sales, and with those 2 sales, I can make X number of dollars and pay the loan payment or whatever. If you had all that worked out, then the
Mhm.
loan is a great idea. That's free leverage. The
Yeah.
bank is giving you money, and now you could plug that into this system and it works. It's like if you bought a piece of real estate where the mortgage is only going to cost you $1,000 a month, but the rent is going to be $5,000 a month. Play that game every day, all day long. That's great
Mhm.
cash flow. The challenge for a lot of business owners being brand new is they don't have those business fundamentals built. They're usually
Mhm.
really good at their talent. They're a great massage therapist, a great barber, but they don't know those other aspects. And if you don't have that down, that's going to cause you some real pain because that is a part of business. There's basically 4 major categories: marketing, selling, your operations, and then handling finances. If you don't have skills in all 4 of those boxes, then you're not ready to go big yet. Get the
Mhm.
skills.
No, I love this idea too because a lot of people have an issue. I mean, I think that marketing is one of the hardest ones for most people because it's like, especially even if, like me, for example, I am my product. So for, well, for one of my businesses, but for me, sometimes like a no might feel like a rejection or or like the vulnerability of putting myself out there. Ooh, that could be really intimidating to a lot of people. But I'm hearing what you're saying is like what you teach is a little bit like is it more of a system or how to do something and like what to expect? I mean, what does this look like?
They're techniques, ways of thinking. One metaphor can
Okay.
change your life dramatically. And I'll give you one metaphor on this. If no's hurt your feelings, then you're probably looking at this as failure. Okay. The
Uh-huh.
metaphor that's going on in your mind is I'm not a good business person, or even as drastic as this, I'm not a good person.
Mm-hmm.
This person said no to me. That's a pretty destructive metaphor. Here's a better one. You're a farmer who's growing apples. You have hundreds of trees. Sometimes you go out into that orchard and the apples are ready to be picked. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you go out in that orchard and there's no apples to be picked because they're not ready. So when somebody tells you no, that's just simply an apple that's not ready to be picked.
I love that. Yeah.
Leave it on the tree.
And they're not all winners anyway. So that's not how.
I
But
in the fall we love to go apple picking, and I noticed how many apples end up on the ground that people never even get to harvest. They just end up on the
Ooh.
ground just because there wasn't enough leverage to get to these, and that's going to happen too. But it's a good metaphor. And here's another one. Some people look at metaphors for marketing like fishing. You
Mm-hmm.
know, bait the hook and put it out there, and then you catch them. Well, that's really great for the fisherman, and it's real lousy for the fish. And that metaphor can hold you back. If you're a kind person, you would feel disgusting when you try to market your business because you're going, I'm taking advantage of the fish. So a better metaphor is feeding the ducks. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to feed the ducks. It's good for me. It helps me relax, and it's good for the duck. I'm going to go out
Love
there and I'm
it.
going to share this little piece of knowledge. And some of the ducks out there are going to want to have this knowledge. And then there's going to be frogs and all sorts of other things out in this pond too that don't want what I'm giving them. And that's totally fine too, because I'm here to
Yeah.
feed ducks.
No, I think that's beautiful. Something that keeps popping into my head, and I just feel the need to share it for whatever reason. I just read I guess it's autobiography, Will, by Will Smith.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, one of the things that he said in there that he took from his friend Charlie Mack, I just want to make sure I give credit where it's due, is that scared money doesn't make money.
I agree.
It's like, I mean, I don't know why it keeps popping in my head. I know it's a little off topic at this point, but I just felt the need to say it for whatever reason, because it's kind of like, if you're sitting there with that lack, it all goes back to mindset. If you're sitting there with the lack mentality and I need this, it's like people feel that. I remember when I was working in real estate, it was hard when I needed to pay my rent. When I wasn't worried about it, I had no problems whatsoever.
And you sell more.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's because people feel that. The real estate example, there are a lot of people that'll show real estate and they only want to close the sale. And that comes
Mhm.
across. So they show the property and the person goes, you know what? The master bedroom is too small. And the realtor goes, ugh. Well, you're there to show them the property. If you're not enjoying the process, and if they get to that house that's not right for them, and you give them that energy, then they're not going to
Mhm.
be buying from you. A better energy to cultivate is good. Now I understand better what you're looking for. You're looking for
Mhm.
a bigger bedroom. Let's go look at the next house. Well, this yard is too small. Okay, you need a bigger yard. Okay, now we need a bigger bedroom and a bigger yard. Okay, now this house is too expensive. Okay, bigger bedroom, bigger yard, this price range. It's a part of putting the whole thing together. And if you get excited about that, you're giving these people a place, a home that might be the home for the rest of their lives. It's
Mhm.
good to be selective.
Yeah, that's a good point. It is good to be selective. Plus, it's always referrals too.
Yep.
I can't even tell you. I mean, so my boyfriend and I, we just recently moved in somewhere, and we used a real estate agent for a little while, but we didn't end up buying from her. I found a spot on our own, but we still paid her money because she took the time. We didn't have to, we didn't know her anything, but we still paid her money because she took her time to show us. And when we want to buy a place, guess who we're calling?
Yeah. Well, she
And
must
guess
have
who
done a
we
great job.
recommend? Her.
Yeah, she must have done a great job.
She did. She did a phenomenal job. And I just happened to luck out. That's all there was to it. It had nothing to do with, anything but that. But
Yep.
I love that idea too of just, yeah, having that great, that great energy. So knowing that you come from a background of martial arts and knowing that and I hope you don't mind if I use this term, an expert in mindset. What would you say are some things that people can do to maybe raise their energy or switch because I know like sometimes when I get a negative thought in my head, it turns like into a hamster wheel and just
Yeah.
goes round and round. And it's like, okay, I know it shouldn't be there, but that doesn't help me thinking that. It's like it sticks it in my mind more. So what can people do?
Um, how to complain. This is really important. In martial arts, again, if the guy hits you with a technique and you show that it damaged you, he's going to keep hitting you in that same exact spot over and over and over again. Okay. And that's the way that the universe actually works. When you initially have something that hurts you, you have an instinct to pull your hand off of the hot stove and say, ouch. Okay. That's how you're supposed to complain. Ouch. I didn't like that at all. And then that's supposed to be the end of it. Because if the complaint carries on beyond that initial reaction, then what you're saying to your subconscious mind, your soul, is that circumstance hurt me, and I'm not a good enough, strong enough, tough enough person to handle it. And as you start to say that, what's actually hurting you now is not the circumstance anymore. Your hand is healed from the hot stove. You're not feeling that pain anymore.
Yeah.
But what's really hurting is the disbelief, the self-doubt that you have what it takes to move forward. So the strategy for this, if I was going to teach you how to get out of a chokehold, for example, I would want to put you in that hold and make you feel very safe. I wouldn't want to squeeze your neck as hard as I could when we're first learning, because I want you to get to this position with, okay, I'm in this hold, but I'm okay with it. Right? Because you're in this bad spot, but you're okay with it. Now, if we start off easy, I could then gradually increase those steps until I could actually full force choke you, and you could throw me over your shoulder and go, yeah, man, I threw you. But you got to start slow with where you are. So if you're in a financially difficult situation and you're feeling that energy of complaint, you know, I got to get out of this. This sucks. This isn't fair. He stole my money. Whatever is going on. If you're in that cycle of complaint, you go, okay, this is the situation and I'm okay with it. And that neutral mindset, now you just leveled up from the very bottom to way, way, way up almost to the top just by getting neutral first. Because now your brain could start to work on a different level.
Exactly. And that's a really good point too, because I don't even remember who said it, but you can't solve the problem you're in with the same thinking that got you there.
Yes.
So, to keep coming at it with that same energy to take it a step further back, it's, you can't even see what the possibilities are.
Let me share the Edison method. This is really important. Edison, when he was inventing the light bulb, and all of his other inventions, this guy had 10,000 patents. He's been known to have failed at the light bulb 10,000 times. If you think about that, the concept of that, try to count to 10,000. I bet you can't do it. You're going to give up around 702 and be like, this is boring. Forget it. But this guy actually did 10,000 experiments and didn't have any success and was able to keep going. And that's because of this 4-step process. Because when you think of that energy as perseverance, as hard work, as determination, well, that's a heavy energy. Yeah, and that's why most people won't count past 702 failures. But Edison never did that. He never tried to cultivate the energy of hard work or discipline or overcoming rejection. He never did any of that. What he said is, the first step of my process to create something is I have to realize that yesterday I had a certain level of intelligence, a certain feeling of curiosity, and a certain desire. So if I'm going to actually get my invention to work, I have to have a greater feeling of curiosity. I have to be more curious, more excited, more vibrant than I was yesterday. And so that's what he would do first. I'm going to think about this one word of curiosity or excitement or vibrance. Once I feel it, then I'm going to go to the second step. And the second step would be, he wants to see his experiment as it is right now and be neutral about it. So he'd see the electricity going into the wire, going into the filament burning up in less than a second, and the electricity running out of the wire. He'd see this over and over and over again without the energy behind the failure of doing this so much. And once he got himself calm about it, okay, this is just what's happening. His mind is now at a higher level that he could then start to work on the next step, step 3, which is see it the way you want it. And a big important part of seeing it as you want it, but not how you want it. That's so critical. See, what most of his failures were is what he was putting between the wires. Let me try wood. Let me try oak. Let me try pine. Let me try copper. Let me try tin. Let me try aluminum. Let me try my hair. Let me try my jeans. Let me try my shoe. He was putting all this stuff through there to try to figure out what would work. And so he didn't see the material. He would just see the actual light staying lit. If he tried to see the material, then that would bring him back to that level of frustration. He'd just see the light being lit. And the fourth step, this is the best part. You'd think, well, when does he get to work? He doesn't. In step 4, he listens. So think about this, Julie. If I said to you, what's your favorite color? Do you like red? Do you like orange? Do you like pink? What's your favorite color? Come on, Julie, tell me. What's your favorite color? What is your favorite color? Do you like the color of your clothes? You like that? What is it? I'm not listening. I'm just asking. So I can't get the answer. And that's what a lot of people do. What do I got to do to make money? What do I got to do? Do I have to do this? Do I have to do that? Do I have to do this? And they never stop to actually listen for the answer. So that's what Edison would do. He would stop. He would forget about his experiment totally. He'd go feed the ducks, go ride his bike, go do something, and he'd listen for inspiration. And the inspiration that he got was charcoal. And his first response to that was, I've tried that. Matter of fact, I tried charcoal out of oak and charcoal out of every wood I could think of. But that must not be it. So he continued to listen. I wonder how charcoal is made. And he realized that if you burn a fire, that fire will burn the wood up into dust unless you cover it and you smolder the fire. And when you smolder the fire, it burns very, very slowly and densely. And it allows that wood to transform into charcoal. He goes, that's what I need. I need a vacuum. It's not the filament that's the problem. I need the bulb to keep the oxygen out, and then it'll stay lit. And that's how he invented the light bulb. More importantly, that's the 4-step process he utilized to invent the light bulb. And anybody could apply that to creating anything in your life.
That is amazing. Oh my goodness. And on that note, now's a perfect time to go to commercial break. So we will be right back in just a moment. I know you guys are having just as much fun as I am. And that last story was so amazing. And just, I love the part about listening too, because most of us, myself included, have been very guilty of not actually listening. But anyway, for those of you who are watching us live, hello, you are welcome as always. And as I mentioned, we do need to go to commercial break. So we'll be right back after these messages. Are you someone who is struggling to move forward because you suffered a loss? Maybe you're even finding it difficult to complete the most basic tasks. Are you looking for a way to start enjoying life again without feeling guilty or the resistance to do so? Spiritual life coach Sarah Stockham saw a need for people who haven't learned how to grieve without putting their entire lives on pause. And so she created a program that solves this issue called Choosing Life Right Now. This program is simple and you can do it on your own. If you are ready to learn how to feel your grief while still being able to smile, to honor the sacredness of what took place as a loss, and yet still continue to live with joy, and if you'd like to take care of your whole being with grace and love, then I'd like to invite you to experience her new program called Choosing Life Right Now. Sarah is currently offering her program for the promotional price of $77, but it won't stay at this price for long. To learn more, check out her website. The address is on the screen. Welcome back, everyone. If you're just joining us now, my name is Julianne Meyer, and I am the host of Own Your Wellness. And today's guest is Scott Aksamit. Hello, welcome back.
Hey, Julie.
So, we have been talking a lot about mindset, a lot about growing business, and I would love for you to share a little bit about what people can find on your website right here.
Sure. It's my website. First of all, we have Law of Attraction Biz is about attracting more business to you. It's getting out of that hard work energy that there's a bunch of sacrifice and discipline that has to be encouraged before you have success. I know that gets promoted a ton. Um, I'd like to share a story if I could a little bit later, but when I was applying hard work energy to my business, I was actually miserable. I was overworked, I was frustrated, and I was just having an awful time. And you have to actually get rid of that if you're going to grow. Just like at parenting, if you're currently frustrated with your kids because they're not cleaning their room and you stay frustrated and you try to get them to clean their room, what occurs? They just don't do it more. They fight you more. They dig in more. If you don't get the energy right around what you're doing first, then it doesn't matter what you do. This is why, why is it that the gym gets filled up on January 2nd and by now we're in February, it's empty? Why? Why? The answer is simple. Because it's not how hard you work that gets your success. All those people that started on January 2nd, they're like all excited. Look, I'm going to eat right. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to do all of this. But they did nothing to change their mindset.
Yep.
So they feel busy. They feel busy and they're overwhelmed. But damn it, I'm going to do more hard work and I'm going to finally get in shape. I know I feel busy and I feel overwhelmed, but I'm going to do this anyways. I'm just going to add to my work list and I'm going to figure this out with toughness and discipline in order to get this workout done. And by February 1st, they're so freaking exhausted, they give up.
Yes.
You have to relieve that feeling of busy and overwhelm first. May I give a tip?
Yes, absolutely.
Busy and overwhelm is just an abundance of blessings.
Yes.
Because if you didn't have all this, if you didn't have all these people in your life that you were worried about, then you wouldn't have that much love. But what happens is we forget about the love for a little bit and we're thinking about all the stuff we're supposed to do. So we feel overwhelmed. Feeling overwhelmed isn't because you have too much to do. Feeling overwhelmed is because you're not focused on the good side of the equation of the things and the gifts that you currently have. And once you shift that, okay, there's 10 people that work for me and I'm trying to get everybody to do all this different stuff. Holy cow, I have 10 people that work for me. I have the resources of 10 individual people that can help me get to this next level that I want with my business. See, that's the Edison process. I'm now on a higher level of thinking. So now when I go and meet with these 10 people, there's a better energy. Everybody feels appreciated and that better energy gets more work done.
And, the other thing too, it's like, as far as we know, we only live this life. Like, this is it for, at least in this body. That's all we have. So if you're going to get to the end of your life and think, well, I'm really glad I forced myself to do. No, nobody's going to be like that. Why not enjoy what you're doing, even if you are working? I mean, not everything is rainbows and butterflies, but that doesn't mean you have to hate it either.
Well, it's not all rainbows and butterflies, but it is a part of the creation process. And that's something that's something to appreciate because I started my martial arts career because I lost my brother 2 days before Christmas in a tragic accident. And the reason why I started martial arts is because I wanted to get revenge on the guy who did it.
Wow.
That feeling of revenge drove me to work harder at martial arts than anything else could have possibly driven me to do. And it actually, in the long end of now that I'm at the end of that journey, I realize it was absolutely necessary to give me a career that I love. So there's a blessing in even those things that it is a part of the creation process. The fact that you don't, maybe if you're struggling with a particular area of your business, you're not making as much money as you want. That's the easy one to take from. So the fact that you might be in a little bit of debt is actually a blessing. It's getting you cleaner about your finances. It's getting you an awareness of this is what it feels like to be in debt. So let's start putting some more money away, saving for retirement, etc. You wouldn't be able to do that without that feeling of debt.
Exactly. No, I love that idea too, that, even things that we don't like doesn't make them bad, or not even, just because it's uncomfortable or it doesn't feel good to us doesn't mean it's not necessary, doesn't mean it isn't good for us, doesn't, I mean, you can look at it like you said, debt, for example, because a lot of people struggle with that. Like you said, okay, I know what I want now. This isn't working.
Mhm.
Let's create something different and let's move forward. Other people wouldn't maybe save for retirement because they're not in debt. And then they get to the end of they're older and they're like, oh my gosh, I have nothing.
Yeah. And the metaphor again, whatever problem that people are currently going through, there's two ways that you could tell this story. If you're saying, I'm fighting this dragon and this dragon is winning, it blew fire at my shield and my arm is burnt, and I tried to stab it with my sword and it cut my arm and I dropped my sword. I'm losing this battle. Okay. That feeling is going to keep you from getting the right ideas that are going to get you out of this.
Mm-hmm.
You change the metaphor. I'm fighting this dragon. Yeah. And I stop the fire with my shield. And I drop my sword, but I still have my shield and I'm still in the fight. I'm not losing this fight. I'm fighting the dragon. That at least puts you in a mindset where you got a shot.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to at least have a shot. And get yourself also to tell the story. And then that's its head on my wall. I won. That's where you want to be. But a lot of people don't want to tell that story. They want to tell the story where they're in defeat. So where do they stay? They stay in defeat.
That's a really good point. And like you said, it all goes back to mindset. And do you want to stay as a victim of that dragon and be or do you want to keep going? And, maybe you don't want to fight the fight anymore, but that happens to be where you are. And so
I would disagree. They definitely want to fight the fight.
yeah,
They definitely want to fight the fight. If they're fighting the fight, if they have debt and they're frustrated by debt, they're fighting the fight. Okay.
yeah,
That's them in the fight. If they didn't want to fight, they would just declare bankruptcy and commit suicide and it'd be over. Okay. But they're in the fight. So
Yeah.
why not fight with the right mindset? You're there anyways.
Exactly. And wishing it away, that's really not an option. So
It might be a good start.
it might help with
Well,
your mindset and changing where you're focusing.
let me give you an example of how to exactly use that. Wish it away so that in your head, you could feel what it would feel like to not have the debt. Actually wish it away. Just sit there, close your eyes. Okay, if I didn't have this debt over me right now, how would I feel?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'd feel this relief. I'd feel this ease. Good. Because when you're feeling that relief, when you're feeling that ease for that moment, now, Edison method, you just elevated your mindset from frustration to ease. You're going to get better ideas up here than down here. You're going to have more energy up here than down here. So that's a way that wishing it away could actually help.
Yeah.
Now, to just expect that you're going to wish it away, not change any character traits or any thought processes, I call them language loops, and that you'll get new results. No. And I would say even more, to just say that you're going to work your way out of this and get different results, that's not going to happen either. Because hard work without a change of belief is just going to create more problems.
Yes, 100%. It always comes back to the energy behind anything that you're doing. And
Yes.
something that you said that I want to kind of go back to a little bit is the busyness thing. And that is that, most people think, okay, let's take finances. All right, I need to make more money. So they start adding in all this other stuff and thinking if I'm more disciplined then, and if I'm more careful with my time and I add more things in, then I'll have more. But it doesn't work like that. It's not, I understand the term, grind and grinding, but I've never liked it because I don't know. And I don't want to spend my life grinding. Like that doesn't even sound appealing. Who wants to do that?
No, the business strategy that you should apply. I just did this with my guys. We had an event. Okay. And the event was so that the kids were all going to come down. They're going to learn sword fighting techniques. We're going to use the foam noodles for sword fighting. And we're going to have this great event. So what we did is we looked at every key component of the event. How many people showed up? How many parents came? How many of those little foam noodles did we sell, etc.? We tried to break it all down in all these different statistics. Then we looked at all the work that we did when we made announcements, when we asked for them to pay for the ticket, and every step in the process of getting people to come to this event.
Mm-hmm.
Then we looked at each step and we said, okay, what could we change so that we'll get a better result, or we have to work less in order to get that result? And we
Yeah.
went through each and every step. And after we went through each and every step, we had a completely different game plan. And what was fascinating is, well, the event doesn't happen yet. It's happening next week. And maybe you got to have me back on to let you know how it worked. But when we only made $400 from this event, we realized if we did all of these other things, the event would actually run easier with less effort from the staff,
Mm-hmm.
and we're set up to make $10,000. So
Wow.
it's actually possible that you could work less and make
Mm-hmm.
more money, but you can't if you believe that the key to success is hard work, discipline, and sacrifice. Because if you believe that hard work, discipline, and sacrifice are the key to success, then the only ideas you could possibly cultivate from that low energy state is to do more work, do more outreaches, spend more time in the office, sacrifice your health more
Yeah.
in order to get there. But if you go in your mind and you believe it, there are things that I can do right now to be more effective and make more money. Let me look for them. What am I doing right now? What could I
Mm-hmm.
say, or what small thing can I do just to tweak things a little bit that could get a 10 times or 20 times return on my investment of energy? That's how you actually do build wealth. I don't think Mark Zuckerberg is out there doing tons of code. I got to do more. 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 He's not doing that.
No, no. Something else that I noticed you saying that I think a lot of people don't necessarily think about is how you analyze what you've done.
Mm.
You go and you take a look and say, okay, this works, this doesn't. How can this be better? And even if it was phenomenal, how could this be different or better with less work? I mean, why not take a look? Why not? There's always, at least take a look. Maybe there isn't a better way, but at least if you don't take a look, you'll never know. And most people just like roll the dice every single time and be like, I hope this one works.
There's a reason for that, and that's because most people were brought up at public school where they did a piece of work, the teacher put X's all over it on all the things that they made mistakes on, and they were trained to feel bad about making mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And belief, I shouldn't be making mistakes. I should be getting A's. I should be perfect. I don't want to make mistakes. Well, that prevents you from actually learning anything. It's
Yeah.
really frustrating. If I had control of the school system, I would do things completely different. I would never make an X on the paper. I would make check marks. These are all the things that you got right. And then I would reteach whatever wasn't a check mark. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
number 2 wasn't a check mark. This is the right answer, guys. I'm teaching you the right answer. Here's the right answer. Now do the test again. And if you did that, everybody would have a different feeling about making mistakes. And that's the way you should run your business. You should run your business. I took this action, and what did I do well? Now, what can I make better? What were the green checks instead of the
Mm-hmm.
red X's? And now what can I make better? Now, if you don't get a result you want, and people challenge me with this, well, what do you do with the kid who's got nothing right? Did he do the test? Yes. Good. You made 10 attempts on that test. I appreciate those attempts. The answer to number 1 is this. Got it? What's the answer to number 1? Great. Let's retake the test. All right. You got yourself a green check mark. We're on our way. What's the answer to number 2? I'm giving you the answer. And I
Mm-hmm.
would take them through that to teach them how to be successful, not expect them at 7 years old to already be successful.
That's a really good point, is that we have these expectations in our mind too about how something should look. And this doesn't necessarily have to do with business either. I mean, this could be anything in life. And when it doesn't match what we think it should look like in our head, one, we can't see options, solutions, different ways of being, because when something shows up, we just can't see it, or we don't appreciate it. And I find that very unfortunate, because you can miss so many blessings and opportunities because you didn't see it show up the way you thought it should, as opposed to how it actually did show up.
Yeah, using the health and wellness mindset. If somebody started their new diet program and they were good on Monday, good on Tuesday, good on Wednesday, then they
Mm-hmm.
cheated a little on Thursday, they would beat themselves up for cheating on Thursday and not
Yeah.
give themselves credit for those other 3 days that they did well. If they weigh in every Saturday, for example, and on one Saturday, if they weren't happy with the results, they'll likely beat themselves up. They'll look for everything that they did wrong, and then they'll feel bad, and then they'll start to develop beliefs that I just can't be healthy. But
Mm-hmm.
there's another way to look at this. If they got on the scale and they weren't happy with the results, hey, I'm getting on the scale. That's a sign of courage. I
Yeah.
like this feeling of courage. I'm not afraid of feedback. That's a really good sign. Now they're, again, leveling up their energy, so they're more likely to stick to the things and get the better result. It's such a critical concept. This hard work and discipline and sacrifice thing, that's really
Mm-hmm.
my mission with this business, is to get people to stop saying that, because they think law of attraction is woo woo. Okay, I'm going to sit there and meditate, and God's going to throw $100 bills down from heaven and land on my lap, and then they go, BS, that's not the way. Well, that's not how the law of attraction actually works. It's
No,
not
it's
how it works. What it is you get yourself to level up how you feel about money. And then all of
mm-hmm.
a sudden, you're starting to have new ideas that are now attracting more money to you, or better relationships that lead to more money, etc., or a
Mm-hmm.
better marketing plan that leads to more money. That's the key. Mindset first.
Exactly. And something else that I feel compelled to mention too, and this goes back to your analogy, with the weight loss, is let's say you do get on that scale and the numbers didn't go down the way you wanted to, but your clothes fit you better than they did last week,
Mhm.
and you have better rest and more energy. If you're not focusing on those wins and you're so busy worrying about how the scale didn't go down a specific number, then you're not even noticing all of the accomplishments that you are getting somewhere. You are moving in your direction anyway. Just because the one part didn't match up the way you thought it should doesn't mean that you either,
Great point. Find
you
the
know?
wins. Find the
Yeah, find
wins.
the wins. Always find the wins.
When
Like,
when I train new instructors in the martial arts, their first lesson is always this. I step back in a really pathetic defensive stance, and then I ask them what was good about that. Now, most people are trained and they say nothing. And I go,
mhm.
well, wait a minute. Did I step back? Yeah. Did I bring my hands kind of up? Did I respond when you told me to go? There are good things that happen there. Now,
Yeah.
if you just respond with some of those good things and stop setting perfection as the requirement for me to say something good about my life or my student or my wife or anything else,
Mhm.
well, now you can at least build the momentum to reach perfection. But that critical mindset of looking for the mistake so that you could kill it only
Mhm.
makes the mistakes bigger.
Exactly. So how can people work with you? What does that look like?
Well, what I do when I start with anybody new is I always do a one-on-one consult first. And the reason for this is because the law of attraction has gotten a bad rap. People
Mhm.
think that it means that I'm just going to sit there and meditate and all of a sudden all my dreams are going to come true. No, there's action involved, and that's
Yeah.
actually the fun part of it. And I want to teach you how to actually use the law of attraction so that you're excited to take action. You're excited to build your business. You're excited to get involved with having the relationships professionally that you're going to have. Because once you do that, then the work flies out of you nice and easily. And the easiest way, you could send me a text or you can visit my site, lawofattractionbiz.com.
So here's the text number, everybody. And I like the idea too of, you actually explaining that, because a lot of people have seen the movie The Secret, and the thing that drove me crazy was that they got a lot of it right, but they missed the whole action part. I was like, oh my gosh, people think they could just sit in their recliner and dream about like a Ferrari and it's going to show up in their yard.
Well, if you do get the energy right, really amazing things can happen.
Yes,
You know,
exactly.
one of the things that I heard on the Secret is when I first heard this, the guy goes, "I just started getting checks in the mail," and I'm
Hmm.
like, "Well, how? What'd you put together to make that happen?" But then
Yeah.
I realized I've gotten checks in the mail that I didn't expect. Grandma sent me money. I got a
Mhm.
rebate check. I was a part of a class action lawsuit, and all of a sudden there was money I didn't expect. I mean, sometimes that magic actually can happen.
It does.
Um,
Yeah.
so why not? Why not just get some checks in the mail? But the action part isn't hard work that we're trying
No.
to strive for. It's about enjoyment. Let's get to that level of enjoying the action so that we want to do more of it and we want to experience more life. That's really what we want to get to.
Well, also, I would think too, is if you're, you raise your energy level to get to the right energy level, that would be a little bit different than, let's say you're all excited, then all of a sudden it becomes hard work. Your energy is going to dip. You're not going to be in that right level. That's not going to be in the right mindset, the right energy level. So, to expect that to be the answer isn't even logical.
I agree.
No, I love that. I love that so much though. And so I would love for you to explain what your interpretation of flow is. What does that look like?
You're fully in line with your desire. In doing a martial arts technique, if I look at the technique and I look at my instructor doing it, and then I'm trying to duplicate it, and I say something like this, wow, he's so good. I don't think I'm as good as him. Then I'm not in alignment with the desire, and I'm not going to have an easier time doing the technique. If I look at the technique and I'm about to start practicing, I go, oh man, my back is really bothering me today. Now I'm not in alignment with the desire. My desire is to be able to execute the technique. I got to get alignment with it. So you got to tune that a little bit. Okay. I'm feeling some pain in my back, but I don't have to go full speed right now. Now I'm closer to being in alignment with my desire. So now I'm starting to develop more and more flow. And when you get that flow that's moving at 380 miles an hour, nothing's going to stop you. Well, that's the internal dialogue of this. I'm really good at this. I love doing this. This is so much fun. I love doing this. I want to do this all day long. I'm having so much fun. That's where true flow is. True flow is, it's a momentum to it. It starts with that, a little bit of belief in yourself, a little bit of positive energy, and then you keep moving it until you get full alignment with what it is that you want.
No, I love that so much. And we only have about 3 minutes left. Is there anything that you would love to share with the audience that maybe you haven't shared, or reiterate something?
This whole discovery happened because my business was in a really, really tough spot. My wife and I were over $100,000 in debt. We had 3 lawsuits that were coming up against us. I had a junior instructor put a video camera in the woman's changing room. That ended up on the news all over the place. I ended up losing half of my students. I mean, it was just an awful event. She was pregnant at the time. We ended up losing the baby. I mean, it was just a really, really tough time. I had done some journal work trying to get some answers, but I was in that hard work mindset. And my prayer sounded like this: what the hell do I have to do to get out of this? And as I said that prayer, I looked up at the clock and I realized I'm late for my classes. And I had to get the dogs in the kennel. So one dog went right into the kennel, no problem. The other dog sensed my energy and bolted, didn't want anything to do with me. And it's funny sometimes the things that break us. Here I was, I had 3 lawsuits. I lost my business. My income was down the toilet. We lost the baby in a miscarriage. All of this stuff was going wrong in my life. But the fact that I was a little bit late for a class and I couldn't get the dog in the kennel broke me. And I wept right there on the lawn, just like a little baby, eyes bawling. Well, my dog came over to me and licked my ear at that point. And I felt this relief. And I said, kennel. He went right in. I closed the kennel. And as I closed the kennel, I heard the answer to my prayer: celebrate life. I started to do that exact thing. When I went to go to my classes that day, I was thinking, man, I need more students in order to pay my bills. But what I realized is, look, during all of this hard time, these people still love me. They're still here. I'm celebrating that fact. And I started teaching with that mindset, working my business with that mindset: celebrate life. And my business turned around rapidly. Before this event, we only had around 200 active students. Now, keep in mind, this was in a town that had 8,300 people. After I started to work my business with the mindset of celebrate life, I ended up having over 700 students in my academy. Almost 10% of the population of the town was doing martial arts in this place because I implemented one simple concept: celebrate life. That's what I want to leave everybody with. You got things to be grateful for. Go find them.
Oh, Scott, thank you so much for being on the show. You brought tears to my eyes because I can totally relate to your story. And I think a lot of people can in their own way. So, and I just appreciate your knowledge and you being here today. This has been an absolute pleasure. So, thank you.
Thank you for having me. It was my pleasure.
Anyway, everyone, that is all the time that we have for today. I just want to say thank you for joining us. And yeah, I'm going to go celebrate life. So, we'll see you soon, everyone.